Retro Robbins here with a quick update for why I haven't been able to make a video recently. Well, you know, we've all been working on Project 81 to bring an old CRT, little mini black and white CRT to life and make it look like a complete ZX81. So I thought I'd give you an update on my progress. As you can see, the ZX81 is now, well, ready to load. That's not got the ZX81 in it yet. I'm still performing some modifications on the actual board to give it a more, well, better all-round experience, because it's now got a 16-bit kilobyte machine. Now, why do you want to use an original CRT with a ZX81? Well, it's when you're loading, you've got those loading lines, those classic loading lines, and then of course when you press play to select a file, you get what you need to get. You get some sort of interactive feedback, and with the magic of editing, we'll get this sausage loaded now, and we can show you what this ZX81 is truly capable of. So we're nearly loaded now, and we'll get to see the ZX81 running a little demo. Hopefully I'll just zoom in a little bit. We won't get to, well, we have got too much screen flickerage. It's really hard to get the frame rate right for the camera on this one. But as you can see, that's the anniversary, 25th anniversary timings demo, shall we say, is running on the ZX81. It's got some absolutely phenomenal bits of graphics in there. Just going to let it run and play a little bit, just so as you can see some of the stuff that's going on. Interestingly enough, you can see the text at the bottom of the screen goes into the border area. And that's thanks to a slightly enhanced ULA, still running a ZX81 Z80 ROM and a replacement ULA, obviously. I've had to cut the ZX81 case, but it was a case that was already broken. I can show you now. The actual bar that went across the top of that on this particular ZX81 was broken, and that sounded like a good enough reason. But I also wanted to preserve the ZX81 in a way that couldn't be done before. As you can see, this is running quite nicely. Lovely little demo this is for the ZX81. Hard to record CRTs with a capture card, but you can see the reason why I needed it to be a CRT. Look at that, that's high-res graphics. You know the Amiga bouncing ball? Well, this is the ZX81's version of a bouncing ball with the shadow that traces a, shall we say, ZX81 itself. That's absolutely phenomenal little demo. This demo will loop, plus you will be able to play the ZX81 as well if you want to play any particular games. As I previously suggested, there will be a TZX Arduino at the top of the case, but you will still be able to load games additionally by the side of the case if you plug in your cassette deck, because I'm keeping 2 ports alive, so you can even record any programmed games that you're going to program on this ZX81, providing it doesn't crash. You never know when these ZX81s will crash. I mean, just look at that fantastic graphics there, amazing for the ZX81. Most people wouldn't think, oh well, that just looks dull and boring. Well, you've got to remember what the capabilities of the machine was itself. This is called Project ZX81, and I'm keeping it as a Project ZX81. It's slightly commissioned for RMC, and I love this little bit of the demo. A little bit more of this demo play, and then I'll start to show you a bit more of what it is I've been doing and some of the problems I have encountered in this build so far. For instance, the first thing we had was the original signal coming from the ZX81 wasn't being picked up by this TV. It wasn't a good composite output, shall we say, and it has to be a composite output. Yeah, I know that doesn't look right, does it? Yes, ZX80 inside, Z80 inside, or Z80 if you're from the States. Right, we're going to turn this off now. The first switch will turn the ZX81 and the monitor off. The second switch will turn the ZX81 and the monitor on. And as it builds up, there we go. And then if you switch over to the third one, because this unit's got a built-in radio, you see, I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I'm just going to filter through it. How cool is that? We'll go back to that one now. I'll tell you some of the problems I'm going to encounter. Right, let's move over to the ZX81 itself. There we go, there's the 81, and the problems I'm going to encounter are, I'm changing that so as it's going to be a stepping voltage regulator. That way we won't have heat building up inside the case. The ZX81 itself will be housed in the battery compartment of this television. If you're wondering why it's covered in a little bit of Kapton tape, I've got to follow that down in a minute. I'll come and show you that in a second. Right, we've got the 32 kilobyte chip there, 16K ROM installed. We have a mod chip there to help it run a high-res graphics. We have the composite mod on the side, which is now linked to the television, and we have an enhanced ULA chipset because it runs cooler than the actual ULA, but it is a ZX81 ULA modern replacement, which needs to be done, I'm afraid, because if you're going to build something like this that's going to be on constantly running all day long, it needs to be stable. Yeah, it's looking good. The Kapton tape is because I've got to do a little bit more filing on the back of the case here to make it nice, level and true. Right, what issues have I had? Well, yeah, I've had a few. Thanks to Tony Ellis, we managed to get through together some of the issues that I've managed to get round. First of all, I did explain a bit about the signal. Getting the radio working at the same time as the composite lead on. That needed a little bit of clever jiggery pokery with the connections at the front, because normally this would be TV, but it's not. Now it's just radio AV. So it's off. All that's got to be taken off, and a different label system has got to be put on. But it's mainly power, AV and radio. It would have been good if we could have done it in reverse, but either way it's working nicely. You've still got the options of FM and AM, and you've got a volume control for your radio which you can use. You've also still got the option of the headphone socket should you wish. Now, the more keen-eyed amongst you, let's take a closer look at this 81. We'll notice that I have desoldered and put on the lead the sound input, because they've got to be brought forward to meet up with these two particular holes just here and here. There's no power there. The third hole has gone, and once this is finally cut level, it will be tape in and tape out so as you can record or save any of your games. Now, another little problem we've got, apart from the stepping voltage regulator, we've also fitted, which will be on the back of it, a reset switch, which is basically just shorting out, believe it or not, the C5, not the Sinclair C5, but C5, capacitor C5 on the ZX81. Short across that, and you've got a reset button. So that shall be a good little addition, which is so you can reset the shall we say the ZX81 without having to switch the monitor on and off constantly. Another problem we've got is with the ribbon cable, because I've taken that off. I've got a brand new one of these, right? The only problem is when that case is in here, yeah, that's going to be too far forwards in order to meet up with them, so that does have to be at the back. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to desolder these and solder them to the underneath, so this goes basically underneath, because there's no room for it to bend over at the top, and I don't want it bending over all the chips. I'd rather have it going in that way from underneath. May need to do a direct fold on that in order to make it work, so these will probably be soldered underneath and turned around just to make them so they match, in order for that, which is going to sit about there, because there's no real room inside the case for me to do that. But yeah, that's Project 81 in full so far. That is your latest update. Let's zoom out a touch. There we go. All of this is previously working action, and this is why there hasn't been a traditional Retro Robin show. There is one in the bags though. In the bag, shall we say. Almost finished and recorded. I just need to get round editing. So this here, and I can show you now. Let me just put the aerial down because we're not using the radio. It's going to be housed in the battery compartment, just there. And it does fit inside there from side to side, but it doesn't leave a lot of room, if you know what I mean, especially when you think there's your ribbon cable there. You know, I can't get that any further back. I can try, but I've got to do a little bit more cutting here with the Dremel just to give it a final edge. And of course then, with this battery compartment, because you can click it on and off, you'll be able to access the zx81 from underneath should you need to service it in any shape, way or form. So, Project 81, and at the moment, as you can see, it's working like a dream. Thanks to Ricky, thanks to Tony, and hopefully you'll be able to see this at RCN. You'll also be able to see this at Crash Live, up and running. So please come and give it some love, pay it some attention. Hopefully it'll be on the RCM stand. I know you said it the wrong way around then. Yeah, and I do love the fact that thanks to Dean Jones's Cues, the cue maker in Halzona, make quality cues for snooker players, including many of the top professionals who have printed this label for me. And of course they were an unofficial channel sponsor as well. That means there's no cash involved, they just looked after me in other ways, shapes and form, which is fantastic because I'm not in this to make money, I'm in it because I've got a passion for retro computing. So I hope you enjoyed this short video on Project 81. It's full glory. That is your big update. If anybody's watching this and they like what I do and they want to see more of this content, please make sure you subscribe, give me a like button, helps with the algorithm, helps this channel grow, and I'll probably do one or two more very interesting products, especially with one I've got coming up with the Commodore 64 that's going to blow people away. Not with a CRT, but with something quite special indeed, but I'm keeping that under wraps now, that's secret. In the meantime, thanks for watching. You all take care. Retro Robins.